Let us look at the practice 3 worksheet. Question number 1 asks us to complete the table at the left. We begin by finding the average. Start typing the word average. Select the correct function. Select the data. Samir is 4 test marks. Press enter. Reduce the decimal places to 1 is probably enough. Grab the fill handle and drag the formula down to obtain the averages for the other students. In anticipation of question number 2, what does this average mean in column F? The average in column F, these are student averages. There's another average at the bottom of each test column. Type average, select the function, give all the class test marks, press enter, and this average is different than student averages. This is in row 18, this is a class average. We have a class average for each test. You can grab the fill handle, bottom right-hand corner, and drag the formula across. The maximum mark. The maximum mark in test 1, select just the test marks, not the average, 95. The smallest mark of all the tests, the minimum, select the minimum function. Give the minimum function the data from cell B3 down to cell B17. Press enter. And we have the maximum mark is 95. The minimum mark, the smallest mark on test 1, 61. There were actually 2 students that got 61. Both the maximum and the minimum calculations can be selected, and the formulas can be copied across to the other columns in one step. Which test do you think was most difficult? Probably that would be test 3. It certainly has the lower average of them all. The lowest average. The lowest student average, we are asked to use an Excel function. And so to find the smallest number, we will use a minimum function. I'll select the student averages, press enter. The lowest number in this column, 50.3. The highest mark in all of the tests. To find the largest of a collection of data, we use the maximum function. I can select the whole table of marks, press enter. The largest of all these marks is 99. Again, if I am asked to use an Excel function to complete this exercise, the sum of his test 1 and test 3 marks, then I would select the sum function. And I could select the test 1 mark, comma, select the test 3 mark. Hit enter, 143. Other ways to have done this would have simply been to say equals the test 1 mark of 93 plus the test 3 mark of 50. Press enter, 143 again. A better way than that one, but still not using a function, would be to select the test 1 mark plus, and then select the test 3 mark. So there's 3 ways to add Hin's test 1 and test 3 marks. One of them used an Excel function. How many test grades are there? Let us count them. Well, more precisely, let Excel count them. Once again, we can select all the data, the whole table. Press enter. 60 test marks. Now we have an interesting little question. Use the sum and the min Excel functions to find the total of Nada's 3 highest grades. We can do that. We can start using the sum function as requested. Select all 4 grades of Nada. We hit enter. We did not want all 4 grades. We want the total of Nada's 3 highest grades. So I'll go up to the formula bar and I will make a modification. I have added up all 4 grades, and now I will subtract. I will use the minimum function to subtract the lowest grade. That will have the effect of having added up the 3 highest grades only. And then the average of Nada's 3 highest grades, we have added up the 3 highest marks, and then we divide by 3 to obtain the average of the 3 highest grades. Let us chop some decimal places down. 73.7. Currently, Nada's average is 68.5. The average of all 4 test marks is 68.5, but the average of the top 3 is 73.7. Let us try to find the average of the top 3 for everybody. Average of top 3 tests of each student's top 3 test marks. I will press equals. I need to use brackets. Samira's top 3 tests. Test 1 plus test 2 plus test 4. Test 3 we will not include. It is the lowest mark. I have 3 marks. I divide by 3. 63.3 is the average of the top 3 of Samira's tests. You'll notice that this mark is an improvement, of course, than 58.8. We have thrown the number 45 out, the lowest of the test marks. 58.8 is the average of all 4 test marks. 63.3 is the average of the top 3 test marks. What happens if we copy this formula down the column? Everyone's test mark should go up, but you will notice that that did not happen for one student. An average of 71.3 actually went down to 69.0. What happened? Take a look at what numbers this average uses. For Samira, it uses test 1, test 2, and test 4. Now, in the case of Kala, what numbers does it use? Of course, the same numbers, test 1, test 2, and test 4, because I copied the formula. But 50 is not one of the highest test marks. I've thrown out the 78. So this would not have been a very good method to use to find the top 3 test marks and compute the average. Let us instead find the top 3 test marks. As we have done earlier, we will find the sum of all of the test marks. We will go up to the formula bar and now subtract the smallest of all Samira's test marks. This number, 190, gives me the total of Samira's top 3 test marks. I will put that calculation in brackets. I have 3 marks. To find the average, I will divide by 3. Press enter. 63.3, just as before, but this time Paula is a little bit happier because her average went up, as it should have done. And that brings us to the end of practice number 3.